Mindset for me has been one of my very, very core focuses. I've actually been trying to kind of test my mind and push it as the limits, you know? And every time push a limit, I feel like, wow, there's just another whole limit that I have to go and push now. And it's success is not a one-off type of opportunity that comes and goes. Success is, from what I've found and my life story to date, is more of a journey-based success.
My guest today is Sid Vida. As a first generation American, he has learned many lessons working in his father's convenience store as a young kid. Those lessons have served him well as he navigates the business world as a professional networker, a master connector really, an international speaker, best-selling author, podcaster, and a finance professional. His is definitely a success story. I am Devon Harris, of course, and you are tuned in to Keep On Pushing TV, where we share ideas and insights that are going to challenge and inspire you to keep on pushing and in the process, live your absolute best life. If you haven't done so yet, I want to invite you to subscribe to our channel. Leave a message below, leave a comment below, leave a thumbs up, I should say, because it all helps us to grow our channel. Enjoy.
This is Keep On Pushing TV with Devon Harris.
Sid, welcome to Keep On Pushing, brother.
That is awesome. What an intro. Hopefully I didn't write that.
Well, you know what? It came from somewhere, and I think it just simply came from your life, man. So congratulations on all the strides you have made so far.
No, thank you so much, Devin. And it's a unique opportunity. Of course, I know you very well, and it's a pleasure to get to know you and the whole Keep On Pushing brand, as well as your family, the people that are listening and so forth. So this is a unique opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. I'm always interested in the journey, though, Sid, So before you were this high-flying international speaker and podcast host and financial professional and all of that, you were just kind of Sid. I almost said Sid the science kid. You were Sid. You were just Sid the kid. So I'm kind of curious about Sid the kid. Take us back.
Sure. So I love it, by the way. I've been called Sid the Science Kid many, many times. So no disrespect.
Just when I thought I was being original, huh?
No. I mean, that is, well, it's original coming from you, so I respect that. But no, my background is, I came from India. I was born in India, and I came to the U.S. At a young age. But naturally, it's that immigrant to building a life in another country story. And Devin, you know very well how much of a challenge it is coming from another country. And, the conversations I've had is, okay, well, Sid, you've had 15 generations in India, and you're the first you're starting your first generation in the States. So I have to one up somebody that is 8 generations in the US and is very well established. And so that keep on pushing concept, right? Trying to make something out of an opportunity. And that's really been my life story. And so every step of the way has been a challenge, but it's the stepping stones, right? So, I don't kind of say that, hey, I have so many thousands of followers, but I help build that into where it is today. And of course, the good people like yourselves are there with me, and my network around me and the people I surround myself with have helped elevate me.
Mm. How you said you came at a young age. How old were you?
I had just turned the age 5. So, yep. So
really,
and it's,
yes, at 5, one could argue that your formative years were actually here in the U.S.
100%, but I have another unique story around that. My parents actually left me in India with my grandparents to help secure a life in the States. So I actually was raised by my grandparents And when I got here was, frankly speaking, the first time I actually met my parents in an actual conscious conversation.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a very atypical immigrant experience, actually. And
Yeah.
I know many people who, yeah, their parents came here when they were really young and left them back home with the grandparents so that they could set up roots, as it were. Um, I'm kind of curious about the goals and dreams of young Sid back in the day.
So, the one thing, and the one thing that I realized for myself is that whatever I'm gonna achieve, it's gonna be a stepping stone for the future generations. And if I can't make something out of what my family has done to come here, then I've been unsuccessful. And more importantly, I've let down the future generations.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a mindset that I've had from a very, very young age. Because in my personal kind of feeling, experience, and things like that, if I'm not the one that's going to push it, then, what am I expecting the generations after that to go and push it? So
Mm-hmm.
you lead by example.
So I'm kind of curious, what do you see building something look like?
Building something means, of course, there's the wealth factor, but it's what I would call the surroundings of a lifestyle. What I mean by that lifestyle is, of course, I want that stability in the household. I want to have that financial independence and financial security, right? My family, history wise, in multiple generations before that, they were business owners. So somewhere in my future, I already am watching myself and saying, okay, Sid, you want to try to establish a few things like this that are going to take that next stepping stone. So then when my son is going to be of certain age, I can say, hey, listen, why don't you come and join this, and let's kind of keep building on top of whatever it is that I've built.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that kind of entrepreneurial immigrant thought process.
Yeah. So your family were business owners in India. Did they continue their entrepreneurial endeavors here in the U.S.?
No, not necessarily. I mean, my dad himself had become a business owner here in the food business, and that's where a lot of my experience as a young child came from. But not the same businesses as over there. There was a lot tied to government contracts and tied to it was road work, concrete work, things like that, actual masonry work over in India. And then there was and then they got here, and life is a lot different. You have to kind of build something, and you have to start at a ground level. My father just happened to get into the fast food space, and from that he moved up the channels and learned how that business model works, and from there he just kind of grew his own kind of empire and so forth.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you worked in the food business with your dad. What talk to us about that experience? What did you take away from it?
So I actually, and this is the very unique one, is I started working with him, and I very, very vividly remember a lot of my work experience, because I was 12 years old when I actually first really started putting in the time at the time it was a deli grocery store that we were running, that I was part of. And when you're age 12, that's a core years of that childhood experience, right? Hanging out with the friends and doing this and so forth, and trying to enjoy your vacation. During my vacations, during the Christmas break, during any type of thing that I had, I was at his store. And that's what I remember, all the way until he sold everything. And at first, there's that little bit of pain inside that says, why me? Why couldn't I live that life like Joey and Bobby and Susie and Sally and so forth, that, their parents were just working 9 to 5 and they were enjoying the life. But I look back at that, and that peace and time and moment and that experience of learning that, hey, somebody comes into the shop, you remember, hey, Devon, okay, Devon is walking towards the cooler. What is Devon picking up? Okay, Devon is picking up the Snapple bottle. Well, we make 12 cents on Snapple. If he picks up the Gatorade bottle, we make 17 cents. Okay, why don't I find a way to get Devon to buy the Gatorade? All those small things became experiences, and that's what shapes me now. And so, 20 plus years later, I look back at this and I'm like, God, I am so fortunate to be working in the situation I was working in. And yes, I struggled through it because I had to wake up 3 a.m. and it's just part of the business model. But I went past it and I've kind of prevailed and went and pushed, keep on pushing.
So, getting to know your customer and customer service, how has that
100%.
informed, how you do business today?
So everything, and even to now, to date, and Devon, you've spoken at some of my Switch events, right? I run some networking events and so forth. Everything is tied to the end user experience. Okay. That's one thing I've learned in the customer service space. And for me, if the end user is not satisfied with what they got, then I need to find a way to go and improve that. And that's been my kind of core focus of me as an individual. Because if I'm going to buy, let's just say this shirt, and now this shirt, I put it in the wash and it comes back and it's just wrinkled completely, totally destroyed. Why would I want to buy that again? But now what if I called that company up and said, hey, your product is like that. And they say, no problem. We'll refund you and send you a new shirt. You've kept me as a customer. And in my mindset, I say, you know what genuine service they're offering.
Indeed. So I know you're a networking expert, Sid.
Yeah.
And yes, I've spoken with pleasure, honor at some of your networking events. But earlier you used the word mindset, and you just used it. And it seems to me that, when you were 12 and, everybody else was off having fun during the summers and Christmases, you were getting up at 3, that was shaping a certain mindset. Talk to us about the importance of mindset, a success mindset, a growth mindset on that journey called success, or the journey of life.
I love that question. That is an extremely unique question. So mindset for me has been one of my very, very core focuses. I've actually been trying to kind of test my mind and push it as the limits, and every time I push a limit, I feel like, wow, there's just another whole limit that I have to go and push now. And it's the success is not a one-off type of opportunity that comes and goes. Success is, from what I've found and my life story to date, is more of a journey-based success, and it's step by step. I had a good opportunity to network with this one individual. He was a pararescueman, and right now he trains a lot of SEALs, Navy SEALs, and he says that for the way he defines success, and the way I actually perceive that notion as well, is that you set a very, very, very short goal. So if you say that, hey, I'm going to do 30 sit-ups today, well, after the first 5 sit-ups, you go and say, okay, I'm going to do another 5 more until you get to 50. And that then pushes you on top of that success that you already had, kind of that goal, that kind of mindset that you had set. So me at that young age, right? And you asked me about my mindset at that young age. My mindset is, hey, I'm here. I have to establish myself. And no doubt, I don't want to do what I'm doing. No child age 12, 13, 15, or probably anyone even at 70 wants to be waking up at 3 in the morning. But if I'm waking up at 3 in the morning, I need to figure out what I can learn from this, So, and that doesn't mean just, okay, cash handling experience or how to go and slice meats. I need to know that, okay, if I'm going to go and sell this product to a customer, what is the customer's thought process behind it? How can I go get, they call the upsell concept, right? So if somebody's buying a sandwich, how can I upsell them to go and add a side appetizer and also add some soda? This is me thinking at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, trying to learn the upsell game.
Right.
So, that was my mindset, and so undoubtedly, if you develop that type of a thought process that you can do it and you can achieve that point in time, but there's a learning step-by-step process to it, then wherever you're aiming for that success point, you're going to achieve it. It's naturally going to be achieved.
Yeah, so I like what you're saying, man. Success is a journey. Thank you for that reminder, because some people, and I say we live in the microwave society, where people expect success and they expect it now because they've seen what they think are these instances of overnight success, people that they have never heard of, and all of a sudden they are stars. And what they don't realize is that these people were getting up at 3 a.m, grinding it out on holidays when everybody else was sleeping or having fun, and doing the things that they don't really want to do, but they know they must do in order to succeed. And you said that, it speaks to this idea of discipline and commitment. Share your views on those two really important traits.
So discipline, I mean, I could tell you that I'm a ultra disciplined individual, and at times I want to kind of what the way I kind of consider is loosen myself up, but I have to be ultra disciplined. And I'm not talking about like discipline like the military discipline in the way I've shaped myself up, right? And so every single person, and I get this question actually asked quite often about the concept of discipline. And they say, Sid, you're extremely good at time management discipline. And how do we do it? I said, well, the thing is, you're following my technique. You need to go and learn about yourself and learn how to discipline yourself around who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people are trying to go and follow the other person's style. And the trouble is that they don't even know their style.
Yeah, it's true. They say and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember who said it, but basically the man who knows how to govern himself is king, right? So it's one thing to be able to govern others, but can you really govern yourself? Which I think everything that we were speaking about is kind of leading to this thing I call personal leadership or self-leadership. The ability to lead yourself before you even think about leading others. How do you see this concept of self-leadership? How does it play out in your life as you lead networking events, as you work as a banking professional and all of that?
So leadership is, and self-leadership it can be achieved by anyone. And the thing is that one, you need to understand yourself. So that's the first thing. Most people, from what I've gathered, from the people I've consulted, from the clients that I've had and everything, and also the very, very successful entrepreneurs, right? Those individuals know themselves. They know their habits. They know their good and their bad habits. They also know the type of person they are and where they want to be, right? And then lastly, they also know what they need to do to achieve that next level of greatness, not just for themselves, but the people around them, right? Mm-hmm. And so if I want to go and become a leader, then Devon, I'm going to try to get you up there with me, because what you're going to do is you're going to help elevate me. And ultimately, that level of self-leadership and basically being able to take you along the journey with me, it's going to change your life, but more importantly, it's going to change my life, because behind you is another 5 people, or around you will be another 5 people. And those people are going to say, hey, Devon, how'd you do it? And you're going to say, oh, Sid got me there. And all of a sudden now, I am not the follower. I am the trend maker. I am the what you call the king just now, right? And the leader. And the thing is, though, you can't do it and say, oh, I want to lead an entire organization, or I want to lead a group of people, if you don't even know what you want to lead.
Yeah.
And what it is about you that you want to be, right? And that's just from my personal experience of all the things that I've learned, that you can't go and give somebody advice if you're not willing to take your own.
A point well made. You know, you can't give somebody advice if you're not willing to take your own. You can't take people to a place that you have never been or you're unwilling to go, right? You can't inspire others to overcome their challenges if you don't have a clue about how you push your own self past your own perceived or maybe even real limitations as well. So self-leadership, you unpack some really important nuggets there, Sid, because I think it's so important that those of us who are in leadership position, because I happen to believe that we're all leaders in our own right, but those of us who have the title, it's important that we spend time developing those other people around us, because you, as you so aptly said, you know, we create results through the people who are around us. And in helping them to grow, they're helping others to grow, and, you know, a rising tide floats all boats, to use another cliche. And so with those people around you, you know, not only are you leading them, but to go back to one of your expertise, you're creating a network of people with which to work with. Talk to us about networking, Sid, because, you know, I've had conversations with you before on the subject, you know, and I think a lot of people think that networking is about just kind of schmoozing and, you know, handing out a business card and you know, keep it moving. But it's more than that, isn't it?
100%. Networking, yes, at some level of networking, there is the schmoozing factor. There is the nice cocktail parties and the galas and all the fun things that we see on the movies and television shows. But networking as a whole, from the ground level of the way I teach it, I run a mastermind for multiple different kind of age groups. And the mastermind I teach for the younger adults, right? People that are getting out of college to 5 years of experience. I tell them networking is just a connection between two people. And then the point from that moment, then you develop out what that networking purpose is. So networking is just a connection. But if we have a driven purpose behind the networking, then all of a sudden, now there's going to be what I would call, you're connecting people to help them achieve their dreams and their goals, right? May that be for a business purpose. May that be for a job. May that just be for an introduction because, hey, Devon, I met a really cool individual that I think you should have on your podcast. And Devon says, oh, what does he do? And Sid explains, and all of a sudden things mesh, and that person is now on Devon's podcast. So the thing is, it's a purpose-driven concept. But most people think that, oh, I just walk into an event, I have all my kind of business cards, and I shake the most amount of hands, and somebody will call me back. That, frankly speaking, from the whatever 10 plus years of experience in networking that I talk about, that I have, that I've learned, that is a total brain dead thought process. It does not work. It might work on a one-off occasion, and maybe that might lead into Instagram being bought by Facebook for whatever billions of dollars. But you are yourself one individual, and that is one single transaction that happens. So you don't depend on just shaking a lot of hands and giving out cards to make it work. You have to design the purpose around networking. You have to be ready to answer questions and ask the right questions. And more importantly, something that most people don't understand in networking is you want to be able to give somebody a referral before you even consider asking for one.
But Sid, you don't understand, man. I just left college. I have no contacts, or I'm an immigrant. I just got here. It sounds so selfish that I'm going to go to a networking event with the sole purpose of making contacts to move ahead. You know, what am I offering? How do I offer something of value in return?
So I love that point. And what's unique about that point you just made is that everyone's life experiences speak for themselves. So Sid didn't become a networking expert, but Sid's experiences helped create and shape up the opportunity for people like a Devon to say, Sid, you are a networking expert, right? So if you are, let's just say, an immigrant that comes to this country and you are very good with masonry work, well, first, design the purpose around what you want to go and network. Do you want to be at the construction show? Do you want to be at the home builders association meetings? Do you want to whatever it is? And say, hey, listen, I've been at these type of places in my past, and now I'm here, and this is the type of projects I've worked at. Is there something that I could help you with? And you could build it out from there. Everyone starts at a ground level from networking. When I first got into the sales game, and when I had two choices, to make as many cold calls as I want or to network as heavy as I could, I said to myself, I will make some cold calls. That's part of the process to learn and educate and build up. But I want to go and build out networking. So even Sid started at a ground level, right? And for anyone that's in a college experience or somebody that, I'll give you a perfect example is I had an individual that reached out to me last week, and that person, they're doing quantum physics as their major. I don't even know what that means, but that is a unique subject. And they're telling me that they have a window washing business that's really gone downhill, and he's a third year college student, right? And he built a pretty decent window washing business, but right now it's just not doing well. Well, I told him, I said, what is this whole thing with quantum physics? He goes, oh, my parents keep pushing me to it, and they're telling me to kind of keep an eye on the studies and stuff like that. I said, but do you know what your degree means and what type of end job it is and who is going to be at the end of the line for you when you are done? Meaning that what is that job function going to look like for anyone that graduates out of this field? And he goes, oh, I didn't do any of the research. I said, that's just one thing you need to do. But number two, and the most important thing is, do you know anyone that actually has that type of a job? If you don't, go and sit on LinkedIn for 2 hours and meet people, find them, and say that this is what I'm doing. Can you help me? Because I want to go and set my life up. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that kind of adds value there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I mean, I start there because I'm not, from what you're saying, though, I'm not so sure that quantum physics is what he wants to do. It's that thing that his parents have impressed upon him, but for sure, if it's something in his wheelhouse, something that he's passionate about, definitely going and sitting on LinkedIn for a couple of hours, I can see how that can be beneficial in terms of meeting people. But to go back to my question, Sid, a little bit more directly, and I thank you for that answer because I think it's really powerful. The fact that you start where you are, because I think what you have done is demystify this thing called networking as, a fancy evening out with, sipping cocktails and chewing on hors d'oeuvres and going, maybe I don't have a role here, a place here because I'm only a Mason and I speak English with an accent, hint, hint. But it is you saying, hey, these are my life experiences, and let me know what I can do for you. And you're right. It's just from there that you start, first of all, meeting people who can take advantage of your particular skills. And as I use the word particular skills, I'm thinking of a pretty popular movie. But no, we're talking about skills like masonry or marketing or what have you in this case. But then I think also from there, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, you get to be exposed to, other way of thinking and doing and opportunities that you may not have thought about earlier, but now here it is that you're being exposed to them and you can take advantage of them.
100%. And what you said was, one other thing I want to add to kind of the overall arching conversation is that once that masonry person finds one individual that says, you know what, hey, why don't you come over and let's talk about some of the work that I have. While that person is there, that's your chance to shine your experience, your style, who you are as a person. And so a lot of things not only come from that point in that initial contact of networking, but it comes in that next step and the follow-up and what are the things you're going to do afterwards that then define you and your business and who you are as a person.
So that's, earlier you spoke about, forming relationship, creating relationships. So that's the opportunity there. That's where you do that.
Yes. Yes. And most people, unfortunately, that single point where you said that relationship building opportunity, that's where it gets killed.
Mm. Because, the old adage is that, people often do business with the people they like. Yeah. And you're right. It sounds almost purely transactional at the front, as the way you describe it. Hey, have a networking goal, a networking purpose. But I think that is, I want to say, the entryway. And then beyond that, now you have to develop and cement those relationships.
Yeah. And Devon, I mean, we've kind of connected multiple people amongst each other. And that initial thing is, hey, Sid, why don't you talk to this individual? They're good peoples. They've done X, Y, Z. But then that work now is dependent on me pushing forward and also developing out that relationship. Because then if that relationship goes sour, I can't go say, oh, Devon introduced me to a wrong person. That's incorrect. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's another whole kind of section of networking, and I'm welcome to kind of get into it. But they call that daisy chaining, right? One linking to another and another linking to another and so forth. And that's how you get your 6 degrees of separation concepts and all the things. These are all technical terms in networking that I talk about.
Yeah. But we hear about that all the time though. 6 degrees of separation. You'll go, somewhere unusual. You've probably never been there before. You meet John or Mary, and only to realize that you have close friends or colleagues in common, which, I think, when that happens to me, I'm like, that's why it's so important to live well with others, because you never know who you're going to meet. And I think to go back to the whole business of the whole idea of the fact that we do business with people that we like, if you are actively networking, and you go across town, across country, you meet, John or Mary or Tom, who is Sid's friend, and there was a possibility of doing business in any way, shape, or form. That person will call Sid and go, hey, how is this guy, Devon? I just ran into him. Oh, yeah, he's good people. He's a great guy. And there you have an opportunity, correct?
100%. And I have a video on my YouTube channel called, it's pretty tied to how I've created opportunities. And that video really kind of showcases the fact that every single one of us has the opportunity to create opportunities. And from my history, anyone that knows me, I'm probably one of the most opportunity creator that they've met, because even the jobs that I've had, the position actually never existed. They never even existed. Mm-hmm. But my conversation with that person had led to the opportunity saying, you know what? We're going to open a position that's going to go and get filled by this individual. Right. And that goes because of the networking, the relationship, how I position myself, how that conversation is designed, right? And also my level of follow-up and what I needed to do to get there, right? So these are all the small little things to think about.
Talk about follow-up. You kind of touched on it earlier, and you just mentioned it again. You go to the event, you meet someone, you had a great conversation, you exchange numbers, and they may have promised to give you a ring or may not. They say, hey, let's stay in touch. How important is that follow-up piece in terms of really moving the whole relationship forward?
Yeah. Follow-up is actually, I intentionally in all my videos and the educational stuff, I keep it all the way till the end, because that's the thing that I actually think is the most important factor. And from what I've learned is people have like a 4-second mindset. So I intentionally keep it at the end because I want them to remember that. If they don't remember anything in networking, I want them to remember follow-up. And so follow-up to me is probably one of um, the most important factors of networking. And more importantly, to the importance factor, I'm not just saying that, hey, follow up by, hey, let's just reach out and email somebody. I'm saying follow up in conventional and unconventional ways. I'll give you a very interesting follow up scenario. So I met an individual a couple of months ago, and they had told me that their family member was going through XYZ type of hardships. So I, kind of kept checking in on and so forth and whatever. And then a few months after that, and this was going to be a prospective business client. So we're talking about business transaction wide. So I followed up with them a couple months later on an actual phone call, and they had told me that, hey, you know what? Unfortunately, pandemic and all these things, we're all stuck in the house, and we started talking about just things that our kids can go and enjoy and so forth. So I sent that individual afterwards as a follow-up a ticket to go to a drive-in safari. And the person called back and said, wow, I didn't expect that. And I said, look, it's not going to go and break the bank for me, but I want you to really enjoy it with this time with your family. And more importantly, it's a way that that person will remember me, because I hit something in their heart. And that thing that I hit was their relationship with their family. And so follow-up can be done in so many avenues, so many ways. One other thing I really, really, really focus in on follow-up in this kind of day and age now is, what does the person want to be, sorry, not what, how does a person want to be followed up? Is that person want to be followed up by a phone call, an email? Some people want to be followed up by a WhatsApp message. Some people want to be followed up by a LinkedIn or a Facebook message. So you have to start thinking outside the box, because for somebody like me, I check my emails a few times a day. But if you send me a LinkedIn message, I check it like within 30 seconds. So when somebody follows up with me via LinkedIn, they're going to get a message like within a few minutes. And so that's what I'm very granular when I come to my follow-up.
Right. So in this day and age, it's COVID time. What does networking look like? What are the best practices?
So networking has undoubtedly changed from just 9 months ago, I guess, right? I don't even remember what pre-COVID looked like at this point. And I've hosted in-person events, and now I'm hosting virtual events, right? And a lot of kind of their communication back and forth, right? Even me and you, Devon, I haven't physically been able to meet you in person, but I feel like I know you very, very well, right? And so the virtual experience, the virtual relationship building is an integral part of this post-COVID lifestyle. And let me remind anyone that's listening to this that yes, COVID-19 and all these issues that we're having right now will sooner or later go away, but me doing these Zoom calls will not go away. This is becoming a staple in this whole economical trend that we're living in. Yep. So becoming camera ready, becoming video ready, and also being able to go and relay emotions on a video is an extremely important part of this world. And that really is in the forefronts of networking via a computer screen, right? And I mean, you know the events that I run virtually, you've been to a couple of them, and you can see that trying to get a certain amount of people in a room together to come and network together can be a challenge. But more importantly, the people that are showing up, they're ready. They're ready to take on that challenge. And that's the one unique thing I've noticed in networking virtually, that people that are actually active in this circuit of networking virtually, they know what they want most of the time, and they also are ready to go and share whatever they need to. Because let's be real, it's at our fingertips. You right now, Devon, say, hey, Sid, check out this book. While we're talking, I could go and search that.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm curious. So, do you find that people networked more before COVID or during this COVID time?
So I really love that question. I speak for myself first, and then I could tell you some examples. Prior to COVID, I would have 40 to 60 meetings a week. I mean, I have documented because I'm a hardcore calendar guy. So if you ask me, hey, Sid, what does February 2019 look like? I have everything, right? I know what meeting I went to. I know what time I met Devon, and I know where I met him. And I was doing 40 to 60. 2 weeks after we went officially virtual, as in my mindset, it was like third week of February, kind of first week of March type of thing. That, I think second or third week of March, I think I clocked in 108 meetings, 109 meetings, something like that.
Wow.
And and so there are people like me that doubled down, that went all in and said, I got to figure this out. And then there are people that said, all right, well, maybe I'll just slow down. And I know enough of those people because they're now calling me and saying, hey, Sid, let's do coffee. And I'm like, where the heck have you been for the last few months?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so there's the two type of poles. I haven't actually met anyone in between. I'll be very honest. I've met the people that have embraced this, and I've met the people that are trying to just say, hey, I like this whole Zoom thing, but this is not for me. I prefer to go and meet you in person. And they're coming back out of the kind of hibernation mode. But the truth is that this thing that we're doing right now, this is not going away, at least not in the next few years, So getting used to this habit is much better than trying to run away from this.
Indeed, I agree with you. I mean, I think the landscape has shifted fundamentally. I myself, pre-COVID, you meet someone, you get introduced to them via email, and it's usually a phone call. Honestly, I prefer to just set up a Zoom call because then you get a chance to see the person. I think you learn so much more and are able to more quickly build rapport just having a conversation like this through Zoom as opposed to on the phone. So I agree with you. I think the landscape has shifted fundamentally. So, dude, we've covered a wide range, but in my mind, it kind of comes down to this, what we were speaking about earlier, personal leadership, kind of taking control of yourself, of where it is that you want to go, because then that dictates the actions that you take, right? Whether it is, getting up at 3 a.m. To go do something that you don't particularly enjoy, but you need to do, or it is, again, some of us may not enjoy networking, but getting out there, whether it's, when we were meeting in real time, getting out there, or getting on the computer, be ready, showing up, getting ready to meet people and do the follow-up, correct?
100%. And look, there are ways to go and build an email list. And I know so many people that can go and, hey, I can go and buy followers, and I could go and buy this, and I can go and build this out. But the thing is, Devon, you and me, our relationship after the first few times we've networked is so much more stronger than me trying to upsell you on a book and getting you on a mailing list and then finding a way to kind of keep selling you something. And that there's no relationship there. And so I actually tend to fight people that are always telling me that, oh, Sid, I network. I have this whole kind of social media platform set up, and, oh, my followers reach out to me and this and that. And I said, do you actually know the child of any of the children of your followers? Do you know what school they went to? Do you know anything about them? Then how can you say you're a networker?
Right. Because you're not building those relationships. Dude, I think this has been enlightening, man. Thank you for spending the time with us, sharing your knowledge and your expertise as a networker, as an expert networker. If someone wanted to find you, Sid, whether to attend one of your networking events or just to, perhaps, pick your brains on networking, how would they find you?
Yeah, sure. So the easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn, Sid Vidya, which is, my name. You will see it. And hopefully this face right here, you're just gonna say, oh yeah, no, this is definitely the guy. And the second the second quickest way is on my website, networkwithsid.com. On my website, it's a very interactive website, a lot of random things going on over there between my podcast, between my events, and then just me being a public speaker and the things that I'm doing. So you can catch me over there as well. But the quickest way, and I tell people all the time, send me a message on LinkedIn. I reply back to every single person.
So that would be it then. You want to, have this guy come speak to your group. You want to join his networking event. You want to pick his brain. Find him on LinkedIn, Sid Vidya. Sid, the kid from India who has grown up into a networking juggernaut, as it were, putting in all the work in between. And please don't get it twisted, as they would say, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a journey, and he has certainly, followed that journey and wants to continue to grow and to keep pushing himself. Sid, thank you so much for spending time with us, for sharing your wisdom and your experiences. You're definitely a keep on pushing guy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Devon. And thank you to anyone that's listening to this. Devon, you're a unique individual. I've learned so much about you. And for anyone that is listening, please continue to listen, because Devon is really bringing a whole different level of, topics and knowledge and learning experience. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for that. Hey, if you enjoyed this, please leave a comment below, hit that subscription button and the notification bell if you haven't done so yet. And yeah, share it. Don't keep it. Your friends want to be inspired as well. They want to be informed. They want to be able to take their game to the next level. So share it. And until we connect next time, yeah, man, keep on pushing.